not real in that sense.
You may be of use to me.
Yo, what's up, FANdation? Welcome back. You already know what it is. I'm Anthony, your guide through the galaxy's biggest therapy session, disguised as a TV show, no less. And we're diving headfirst into FANdation Season 3, Episode 8, titled Skin in the Game. Now, this title, yeah, it cuts deep. Harry Seldon straight up lets the Mule live. And by doing that, he makes himself complicit in whatever havoc the Mule causes next. It's not just psychohistory anymore. Harry's got literal skin in the game. Every step the Mule takes from here on out, that's partly on him. On the flip side, Gaal's been walking around with this martyr complex, acting like she's the only one carrying the galaxy on her back. But the first speaker steps in to remind her, she ain't alone. She's not the only one bleeding for this fight. Everybody's got skin in the game now. And then there's Dusk, the last Cleon standing. He's watching his so-called allies line up to sacrifice Trantor itself if it means buying their own safety. That's the ugliest kind of skin in the game, when survival means selling out the very heart of Empire. So yeah, this title isn't just clever wordplay, it's the through line of the entire episode. But before we peel it back layer by layer, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and grab some merch from the store. Rock that Stay Out of My Mind tee, because if the Mule shows up, you're gonna need it. All right, FANdation, let's get into it. We open exactly where we left off. Harry Seldon, face to face with the Mule. And man, the Mule came ready for the smoke, throwing shade, blaming Seldon for every problem in his life. But Seldon, cool as an ice bath. He's like, bruh, I've been dead for centuries. You blaming me is like blaming Blockbuster for not having Netflix. He then proceeds to read the Mule like a cheap paperback and even clocks his hometown. Rossum. Case closed. Harry tries to play nice for a second. You know, he shares his sad childhood like they're on Oprah, but the Mule ain't here for trauma bonding or the Trauma Olympics. He's got one question and one question only. Who the F is Gaal Dornick? And you can see it. Gears spinning in Seldon's head. He's confused. He's suspicious. But mostly, you can tell this dude is scheming. See, the galaxy doesn't even know that there are two Harry Seldons running around. But this Dr. Seldon? He's known ever since Salvor reached out to him for help and spilled the beans about the second FANdation. The Mule, tired of asking, tries flexing his mind control powers, and something happens. I don't know what the hell I just watched, but it seems like the Mule was either able to deduce from Seldon's mannerisms that he didn't know the location of the second FANdation, or the Mule was genuinely successful in using his powers and getting the answer from Seldon. The show plays it shady, but I love it. Also, am I the only one who felt like I could actually smell Harry's breath in this scene? The man was deep in the Mule's bubble, just unimpressed. And when the Mule storms off, flexing, Seldon flips the table. And it turns out he could have murked the Mule right here, right now. And he drops a little robot voice action and reminds us, don't sleep on him. This is the same dude who murked Warden Yeager last season. I completely forgot he even had that gear, and it makes me wonder even more why Seldon didn't get involved in protecting the people of New Terminus when the Mule first arrived. But we kind of get that answer. He's not entirely human. so he doesn't entirely care. I also feel like that this is the moment in which the show is setting up the new villain for FANdation Season 4. Instead of finishing the job, Seldon lets him live. Straight heel turn. He's like, nah, I'm keeping you alive because you might be useful to me. This feels like a John Cena level of heel turn. And then he dips and leaves the Mule to carry on his foolish efforts. We cut to Brother Day down in Mycogen. Excuse me, Brother Duke and Sunmaster? Yo, my guy comes in on some pure bitch-ass Jafar energy. First move, he gets high right in front of Day, like an interrogator who's drinking water while you're dying of thirst. His petty levels are on max. They banter about the creepy robot skull on his staff and then drop the bomb. Day's about to be tried for Cleon the First's actions. That's like getting pulled over for your granddad's parking tickets. This is really not looking good for this man. We cut to Demerzel, fresh off her visit with Gaal, and she floats past Dusk and basically hits him with 3 words and hardly any eye contact. Dawn is dead, before marching off, and brush. Yo, HR gives more warmth in an exit interview. We then switch to Dusk, mourning Dawn while hanging with his pseudo-hospice nurse, Ambassador Quint. They're interrupted by one of Dusk's help, and he's arriving to let Dusk know that Presider Kin and Joiner Beryl from Cloud Dominion and Zephyr Voralis, they all here and they all big mad. They really big mad, and they want to talk to you about that enclosure that your other did on Calgan. Because it didn't go so well. Back on Mycogen, Sunmaster drags Song and her life mate Ocean Glass into this mess. He says Song's gonna have to sit her ass right up front since she brought Empire down here. She didn't, but listen, facts do not matter in cult trials. Day, full rebel mode. He clowns the skull, calls it dead metal on a stick. And these Mycogen folks are like, say less. The whole choir starts chanting, breathing hot breath in unison, and boom, the skull lights up. It's not a religion, that's a haunted Alexa. Over on Trantor, Dusk meets with Kin, Beryl, and Voralis. Their genius plan? Why don't we just hand Trantor over to the Mule and keep him chill? Dusk's like, that's not strategy. That's giving the school bully your lunch money and your shoes.
Stupid.
Dusk and Demerzel both ain't having it. They leave, but not before walking out with the sassiest,
"This was just to notify you."
Back at the trial, the Inheritance stage a whole Broadway play about robot genocide. Turns out the last robot, the one they worshipped, it was named Daniil, which, oh yeah, is ding ding ding, one of Demerzel's old names. Day clocks this and asks to speak directly to the Inheritance to possibly try to free Demerzel from the Cleon's enslavement. And Lee Pace turns it on here. My guy has been subdued all season. Then, bam, full performance mode. I've been enjoying this portrayal of Brother Dude all season, but it's moments like this where Pace has a good long moment to just really remind us just how excellent of a performer he really is. He hums Demerzel's childhood lullaby, and wouldn't you know it, skulls light up like Siri caught a keyword. Sunmaster panics because truth and common sense equals cult kryptonite, so he calls for remediation. Translation?
You're fired.
We then switch to Gaal, returning to Ignis, worried that Pritch is not murked yet. Yo, this man might be effing up her plan. She grabs the Prime Radiant and tells Prime Palver that he needs to take the Radiant and leave Terminus and run. Palver calls her out for having this martyr complex, and he's not wrong. Gaal's grief over Salvor is still raw, and you can feel she's aiming that rage square at the Mule. Either way, we'll see later that he won't let her do this alone. Meanwhile, Demerzel's decanting new clones. Dawn and Day are basically toast, so she's banking on backups. And that makes sense given what information she has. We know things can go beyond her notice, and this is made especially true when Dusk drops the Novacula bomb on her. A whole project that she had no clue about. And she's rattled. Dusk admits that he started this project the day that he became Dusk, and he intended it as an ascension gift for Dawn. Demerzel then reveals that Dawn was compromised and was working for Gaal Dornick, a protege of Harry Seldon. And now, Dusk is in charge. And when Dusk gets ideas, bad things happen, making Demerzel bound to whatever plans and decisions he's making while waiting for the clones that she's decanting to finish. Plot twist, Dawn survived. His suit literally ate his legs to keep him alive. And you know what? Lungs over legs, that's just good survivor math. Bayta's there too, conscious now, and complaining that it hurts to think. Same, girl, same. We know that she had a pretty intense reaction to the null field back at the vault as she fainted and has been unconscious, which is what happens when you stay there too long. But we also know that Seldon is capable of pulling off some far-off stuff in his vault. So I'm a little curious if there's something more happening with her after meeting Seldon. Something else that's interesting is that Bayta is the one that raises the idea of escaping. Which is interesting because she should be converted by the Mule now. How is she the one to raise the idea considering she should be in love? Like everyone else, right? You know what I mean? Either way, Dawn can't walk away because his legs were wrapped in a radiator in order for him to survive, so he's stuck, legless, and planless. We then switch to Demerzel being met by Zephyr Voralis in the garden, with Voralis wondering if she's about to get murked. But Demerzel says, not today, not today. The Chancellor offers Demerzel an opportunity to run away with her. And, yo, we're going to appreciate this moment a lot more later because, y'all, the writing, the acting, this moment. Look, I don't want to spoil anything, but Demerzel is behaving like someone who knows something's going to happen, and she apologizes for what she's about to do. She then says, "I was foolish to think that the mother could hold me in her arms," and then hands her that bracelet that she's been wearing, with Zephyr revealing that Demerzel is actually from the Luminous Fate, or at least she adopted it. Then Demerzel flips and reminds her that she's Empire's Pale Reaper. Brings out a little bit of that robot voice. We switch to Zephyr Voralis having her memories erased again. And then being left standing there like, did I just get gaslit by an android nun? Like, what the? We then cut to the Mule's new office. And yo, is he running an intergalactic daycare now? That kidnapped little girl from episode 1 is here, chilling and playing with the guards. It's like creepy but tragic, and it shows that these characters that are under the Mule's control still have a small level of autonomy based off of her desire to just be a kid. And the Mule even plays with her a little bit, and I can't help but wonder if dude's over here building himself a makeshift family. He even gives the girl Gaal's old prayer stones. And yo, that obsession is hitting Stalker X levels. These are those prayer stones that were in Gaal's face up until she removed them back in season 1. We then switch to Gaal sitting at the foot of Harry's statue on Ignis, pouring her heart out about Salvor again. The first speaker shows up and gives Gaal a good pep talk to follow up on her plans of martyrdom. The speaker's like, cool story, sis, but I'm gonna send some goons with you to just make sure you right? We then switch back to Brother Dawn, and things get weirder when the Mule shows up and taunts Dawn for a while and digs through his head to try to get information about Gaal and the second FANdation. And hold up. Am I the only one noticing that Dawn doesn't seem converted? Like, Homeboy is talking face to face with the Mule and has enough free will to talk back? This really drives home the theory that Magnifico's instrument might be the real key. Only the folks exposed to his music got locked in. But yeah, the Mule's talking mad shit to Dawn and tortures him for a bit. But something weird happens when Bayta tells Mule that she thinks that he should leave. And then he does, like instantly. Even says, of course, you're right. Like he's under control, and what just happened? We then switch back to Gaal and her goons, landing on New Terminus and staring pretty hard at the vault before running the other way. And I'm pretty sure that this is Gaal's first time actually being on New Terminus. But she's got zero time for this pseudo reunion with this other version of Harry Seldon. And last but certainly not least, we finally get to see Brother Dude getting jumped by Sunmaster's goats. And Sunmaster's all up in his face, hot breath again, curling mustaches, straight Bond villain mode, and admits that he knows that Day's telling the truth. But screw it, he's still gonna murk him anyway. Day drops down through a hole, and then end credits. No marble tag, no tease, just pure disrespect. And that's a wrap on FANdation Season 3, Episode 8, Skin in the Game. Harry made himself complicit by sparing the Mule. Gaal's martyr streak got checked by the first speaker, and Dusk is holding the Empire together with duct tape while his allies plot to sell out Trantor. Everyone's got skin in the game now, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Next week, you already know that things are about to get even messier. We're heading toward confrontations that are going to decide who's steering the galaxy and who's just along for the ride. If you really thought this week was wild, trust me, episode 9 is setting up some fireworks. But before you bounce, do me a solid. Smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive. And while you're at it, check out the merch store. Grab some of these Stay Out of My Mind tees or hoodies so you can rock your FANdation pride with pride while the Mule tries his little mind tricks. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Same FANdation channel, same psycho historical chaos. Until then, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and keep your skin in the game. Peace.